हेलो ह्यूमंस, वेलकम बैक टू योर थॉट्स आर वैलिड एंड आई होप यू ऑल आर डूइंग ग्रेट। आज हम यूनिट 30 कंटिन्यू करेंगे विच इज परफॉर्मेंस अप्रेजल एंड दिस इज पार्ट 12 ऑफ क्रैश कोर्स ऑफ ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल साइकोलॉजी. सो लेट्स स्टार्ट विद द वीडियो. So the topics we are going to cover today are we are going to cover some methods of performance appraisal again. So these again come under merit rating techniques. So today we are going to learn about behavior anchored rating scale, behavior observation scale, management by objectives, and 360-degree feedback. So let's start with the video. So first, let's learn about MBO, management by objectives. So management by objectives is a systematic and organized approach that allows management to focus on achievable goals to attain best possible results from available resources. So MBO is basically that approach which allows the management to focus on the achievable goal, so that like from the available resources, whatever resources are available in the organization, using that the employees can achieve the best possible results, and this whole process is systematic and organized. So what does it aims? It aims to increase organizational performance by aligning goals and subordinate objectives throughout the organization. Okay, so they align goals as well as subordinate objectives. Then the concept of MBO was, as was conceived by Drucker, can be described as process whereby the superior and subordinate managers, both superior and subordinate organ managers of an organization, jointly identify its common goals, define each individual's major areas of responsibility in terms of results expected of him, and use these measures as guides for operating the unit and assessing the contribution of each of its members. Okay, so Drucker defined MBO as a process where both superior and subordinate managers of the organization together identify the common goals and tell the responsibility of each and every employee, and tell what is expected of them, and use these measures as guides so that the whole unit can be operated effectively, and then assess the contribution of each of its members. In other words, stripped to its essentials, MBO requires the manager to goals with each employee and then periodically discuss his or her progress toward these goals. In fact, MBO is not only a method of performance evaluation, it is viewed by the practicing managers and pedagogues as a philosophy of managerial practice, because it is a method by which managers and subordinates plan, organize, communicate, control, and debate. Okay. So here it is. I haven't, I made a mistake here. So this is it, and this is. So yes, so this is just not for performance evaluation or performance appraisal, but also it acts as managerial practice, because using this, both managers and subordinates plan, organize, communicate, control, and debate about the organization goal and everything else. So let's move on. An MBO program consists of 4 main steps: goal setting, performance standard comparison, and periodic review. In goal setting, goals are set which each individual can attain. The superior and subordinate jointly establish these goals. The goals refer to the desired outcome to be achieved by each individual employee. Okay, so like the first step, which is goal setting, in this process, managers and subordinates set the goals for every employee, and they together decide what goals every employee should work upon. In performance standards, which is the second step, the standards are set for the employees as per the previously arranged time period. When the employees start performing their jobs, they come to know what is to be done, what has been done, and what remains to be done. Okay, so here basically standards are set, where like the standards are set as in what time they need to do the job, for how long, and what has to be done, what has been done, and what is still remain to be done. Then comes the third step, which is comparison. So in the third step, the actual level of goals attained are compared with the goals agreed upon. This enables the evaluator to find out the reasons variation between the actual and standard performance of the employees. Such a comparison helps devise training needs for increasing employees' performance. It can explore the conditions having their bearings on employees' performance, but over which the employees have no control. Finally, in the last step, which is periodic review, corrective measure is initiated when actual performance deviates from the standard established in the first step goal setting stage. Consistent with the MBO philosophy, periodic progress reviews are conducted in a constructive rather than punitive manner. So I hope management by objective is clear to you. Let's move on to limitations of MBO. We need to understand some of the limitations. So MBO is not a panacea cure for all organization problems. As with other methods, it also suffers from some limitations as catalogued below. Like first limitation can be setting unmeasurable objectives. One of the problems MBO suffers from is unclear and unmeasurable objectives set for attainment. An objective such as will do a better job of training is useless as it is unmeasurable. Instead, will have four subordinates promoted during the year is a clear and measurable objective. Second, it is time consuming. The activities involved in an MBO program, such as setting goals, measuring progress, and providing feedback, can take a great deal of time. Then, third is tug of war. Setting objectives with the subordinates sometimes turns into a tug of war in the sense that the manager pushes for higher quotas and the subordinates push for lower ones. As such, goals to set are likely to be unrealistic. And the last limitation is lack of trust. So MBO is likely to be ineffective in an environment where management has little trust in its employees, or say management makes decisions autocritically and relies heavily on external controls. So I hope MBO method is clear and also its limitations are clear to you. So let's now start with behaviorally anchored rating scales, bars. The problem of judgmental performance evaluation inherent in the traditional methods of performance evaluation led to some organizations to go for objective evaluation by developing a technique known as behaviorally anchored rating scale around 1960s. Okay, so like the judgmental performance evaluation, it inherents in the traditional methods of performance evaluation, and because of this reason some organizations decided to go for objective evaluation, and for that they developed a technique known as behaviorally anchored rating scale around 1960s. So bars are descriptions of various degrees of behavior with regard to a specific performance dimension. Okay, then it combines the benefits of narratives, critical incidents, quantified ratings by anchoring a quantified scale with specific behavioral examples of good or poor performance. The proponents of bars claim that it offers better and more equitable appraisals than do the other techniques of performance appraisal we discussed so far. So basically, there are 5 steps involved in developing bars. First is to generate critical incidents. Critical incidents are nothing else than behaviors. So these are those behaviors which are essential to evaluate performance of an employee. Like basically, like there are certain behaviors which need to be observed by the supervisor or like seniors, uh, so that those behaviors which are actually benefiting the organization or actually impacting the organization in rather negative way. So job holders or supervisors need to observe such behaviors and note it down. So then they are asked about the performance of the employee, the critical incidents in a in an employee's work life. So these critical incidents may be described in few short sentences or phrases using the terminology. Then let's see the second step, which is developing performance dimensions. So the critical incidents are then clustered into a smaller set of performance dimensions, usually 5 to 10. Each cluster or say dimension is then defined. Okay, like like for adaptation, we can list down 4 to 5 incidents, which are basically telling us how adaptable the employee is. So that can come under the dimension of adaptability. So we need to group the critical incidents in different categories and then name them, like critical incidents of the same nature, and then basically give a name to that category. Then third is reallocating incidents. So in this, what happened is that various critical incidents are reallocated dimension by another group of people who also know the job in question. Various critical incidents so reallocated to original dimensions are clustered into various categories, with each cluster showing similar critical incidents. Those critical incidents are retained, which meet 50 to 80% of agreement with the cluster as classified in step 2. So then again, like first it will be asked by supervisors or job holders. Then another group of people can be asked about the performance of the employees. They can be fellow employees. So then again, the same process will happen, reallocating to original dimensions. So basically, the incidents which will be meeting 50 to 80% of like uh, like a particular category, then they will be used. Okay, like the first group listed down 10 categories, and then the second group listed down 8 categories, and suppose 6 of them had similar nature, then those 6 will be considered. Now, fourth step is scaling incident. So the same second group as in step 3 rates the behavior described in each incident in terms of effectiveness or ineffectiveness on the appropriate dimension by using 7 to 9 points scale. Thus, average effectiveness rating for each incident are determined to decide which incidents will be included in the final anchored scales. Then the last method is developing final bar instruments. So a subset of the incidents, usually 6 or 7 per cluster, is used as a behavioral anchor for the final performance dimensions. Finally, bars instrument with vertical scales is drawn to, to be used for performance appraisal. So this is about behaviorally anchored rating scales. So Barr's method of performance appraisal is considered better than the traditional ones because it provides advantages like more accurate gauge, clearer standards, better feedback, and consistency in evaluation. However, it is not free from limitations. So the research on bars indicates that it too suffers from distortions inherent in most rating scales. The research study concluded that it is clear that research on bars today does not support the high promise regarding scale independence. In short, while bars may outperform conventional rating techniques, it is clear that they are not a panacea for obtaining higher inter-rater reliability. So I hope bars method is clear to you all. Then let's move on to behavior observation scales. So the behavior observation scale is a popular performance appraisal method. because it is reliable and it is easy to use. It is different than an outcomes-based performance appraisal because it focuses on behavior rather than results. It is a method for evaluating an employee's performance that can be utilized as a part of the evaluation process. This technique, like behaviorally anchored rating scales, entails identifying critical activities for a certain profession, but the difference is that employees are rated based on how often they demonstrate the required behavior for effective performance. A behavior observation scale assesses the behaviors you wish to see from the people in your team. The scale section denotes that the circumstance is not a yes or no issue, but rather one in which the employees are rated on a scale. A 5-point scale, for example, would ask the manager to choose from the following options for how frequently an employee demonstrates each behavior: almost never, rarely, sometimes, often, almost always. Then never and always are not usually the options because they are unreasonable in most situations. Many intended behavior are included on the scale and the scores are added together to generate an overall quality score. So I hope behavior observation scale is clear to you. Then let's come to 360-degree appraisal. So this method was first developed and formally used by General Electric Company of USA in 1992. Then it traveled to other countries, including India. In India, companies like Reliance Industries, Wipro Corporation, Infosys Technologies, Thermax, etc., have been using this method for appraising the performance of their employees. This feedback-based method is generally used for ascertaining training and development requirements rather than for pay increases. Under 360-degree appraisal, performance information such as employees' skills, abilities, and behaviors is collected all around an employee, that is from his or her supervisors, subordinates, peers, and even customers and clients. In other words, in 360-degree feedback appraisal system, an employee is appraised by his supervisors, subordinates, peers, and customers with whom he interacts in the course of his job performance. All these appraisals provide information or feedback on an employee by completing survey questionnaires designed for this purpose. In 360-degree feedback, performance appraisal being based on feedback all around, an employee is likely to be more correct and realistic. Nonetheless, like other traditional method, this method is also subject to suffer from the subjectivity on the part of the appraiser. For example, while supervisor may penalize the employee by providing negative feedback, a peer being influenced by give and take feeling may give a rave review on his or her colleague. Then let's move on. The following are the advantages of merit rating. So I hope 360-degree appraisal is clear. So it is very easy to understand. We just need to learn some of the advantages and some of the limitations of merit rating techniques. So I hope these 4 methods we studied today are clear. Management by objective, then behaviorally anchored rating scale, then behavioral observation scale. So I hope the difference between bars and boss is clear. So here the difference is that employees are rated based on how often they demonstrate the required behavior for effective performance. In bars, we were not doing that. And then 360-degree appraisal was there. So I hope these all 4 methods are clear to you. Now let's just understand the advantages of merit rating. So it provides a scientific basis for judging the capability of employees who will try to improve their performance if it is not up to their satisfaction. Hence, it helps in making comparisons. It provides a sound basis for the purpose of promotion, demotion, transfer, or termination of employees. Better persons are selected for promotion. The systematic evaluation remains as a part of permanent record. It helps in distinguishing efficient and inefficient workers. In this way, it reveals the defects in the selection procedure, if any. Those employees who are misfit may be spotted and appropriate action initiated against them. Workers may be given increase in pay or incentives if their performance is good. It helps the management in avoiding spot judgments and replacing it by advanced decisions. It is a systematic evaluation technique which produces better supervisors and executives. On the basis of merit rating report, the top management can judge the ability of executive writings such for executives writing such reports. So I hope the advantages are clear. Then let's see the limitations. There is tendency to rate employee on the basis of one factor only. It is known as blending tendency. If the rater finds that the man is good in one field, he will rate him good in all other concerned field. Each rater may apply his own standards with the result. The final rating simply cannot be compared. For example, a rater may think that satisfactory rating is better than excellent, so clarity in standards is missing. Lenient raters give high ratings, whereas strict raters always give low ratings. Hence, there is a big difference of ratings between two raters. It is another limitation of merit rating. Generally, the raters evaluate employee by keeping them in the average category, though some may be falling in the extreme ends of the scale, that is excellent or worst. So this central tendency is another drawback of this technique. Usually there is a tendency to give high rating to a person who is doing the higher paid job. Merit rating has nothing to do with the job, so it is its limitation. So I hope it is clear to you all now. Merit rating techniques and all the techniques we studied under merit rating. So that is it for today's video. If you have any doubt, please do ask in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching the video. I will see you all in the next video.